Hello, hello, good morning from California. Hi, Jay-Z. How are you doing?
Good morning, Nancy. I'm doing great. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. It was my birthday weekend last week, so I had a really fun weekend. How was your weekend?
My birthday was 2 weeks ago, so
Oh my
go
gosh.
birthdays.
Oh my gosh, you're a March baby. Are you Pisces?
I am a Pisces.
Oh my gosh, I love it. We didn't plan for this, by the way. This is completely impromptu. Wow, it's always nice to meet another March baby. All right, so hello everybody. Welcome back to my live stream. Usually I stream about career advancement, leadership advice for product managers and also just people in tech in general. But today we have a slightly different topic, and it's all around building your personal brand. And today I'm joined by podcast guru Jay Z, who knows everything, all the success stories, best practices when it comes to using a podcast to create and to build and to enhance your personal brand. Jay Z, please tell us a little bit about yourself and your work.
Oh, thanks so much, Nancy. And I love meeting your community as well. So thank you for building it. Please call me jz.ai. I am a AI product manager and now AI marketer. So it's been this great combination of serving early stage startups who need both product and growth.
Got it. And what do you mean by AI product manager? And what do you mean by AI product marketer?
Sure. So for AI product manager, I've built models and launched AI products. Right now, I also consult companies who are not AI, like not AI natives, to help them figure out the answer to that pesky question, what are we doing with AI? So it's a brainstorming process for them to figure out if and when they want to introduce AI into their workflow by
Got it.
using AI, probably not building models just yet.
Okay, makes sense. And can you also tell us how you got into solopreneurship and podcasting?
That's a great question. When you become a solopreneur, you have this huge marketing responsibility that
Mhm.
you don't have as a product manager. So as a product manager, I always had teams that helped me launch at South by Southwest, huge product marketing teams, huge marketing teams, huge public relations teams. And then as a solopreneur, that's kind of like your first and only job, which is to get clients.
Yes. And what about podcasting? How did you get into podcasting?
So I kind of got into podcasting before becoming a solopreneur. I got into podcasting when I was learning how to no code, because as an AI product manager, it's a great moment to build your own models, no code your own backend databases, no code your front end, design your own UX. You can
Yeah.
actually do it all now by
Okay.
yourself. And so when I was learning to no code, I got really lonely. Like I used to work in teams of like hundreds of people, group meetings every half hour. So I really miss talking to people. And so I got into podcasting just because I wanted to talk to other people in AI and no code, not because I wanted to market myself.
Mhm. And how did you discover that podcasting can be used for building your personal brand? How did you make that connection?
People made it for me.
Oh my
They
gosh.
they're like, "Oh, I've seen your video, the glasses, the pink flowers. Like, I've seen you 3 times this week from different, LinkedIn or Twitters and websites." And because of that, those 3 touch points that are necessary in product growth and marketing, they just started to recognize me. I didn't do it intentionally.
Okay, and who was your original audience when you started podcasting?
My original audience was in design thinking. So my LLC is Founder Design Thinking, and I started with Google and Amazon and Adobe, all the players in big enterprise level innovation.
Oh, cool. And like many of the people in your audience, I also make the connection with you via your glasses and via the pink flowers. Tell us more about that. Tell us more about your setup and how you thought about your brand.
Yeah, so I had, obviously a lot of user feedback. That's the crucible of product management and design thinking. And so it was quite split. Half the people were like, you should just ditch the pink, go all black, go like, tech girl. And people will be able to understand the tech part of your identity. And then the
Okay.
other half was like, you can only come talk to me when you have the glasses. Like, if you don't have the glasses, I will be personally offended. And I just went with that. I think my no code product was a rainbow color product, and I love color, and it's really true to not only my identity, but the idea of being a brand that's breakthrough and differentiated. Because if we're all just black and white, it's really hard to compete against the apples that are already black and white.
You mentioned a keyword just now, which is black and white tech girl. What is that typically? Like when people associate the word tech girl, what are they thinking about? And what is their perception of what a tech girl is?
I think a tech girl slots more easily into a organizational structure where she's nerdy. I would say we're both pretty nerdy. And she is highly skilled, but she probably doesn't make a lot of waves. She's not uh, colorful, or she's
Mhm.
not like a independent personality. And I don't think
Yeah.
those are in conflict.
Yeah.
It's just easier perhaps for a general population who's not tech actually to recognize a tech girl versus like, what is this girl doing with these rhinestone glasses? So
Mhm.
it's a position for non-tech people to
Got it.
understand an Asian woman
Got
as
it.
being credible because she's smart in technology. But
Mm.
actually, what do you think?
About the term tech girl?
Yeah, an Asian tech girl
Asian
since
tech girl is the good girl. The the good girl that is trying to make their family proud, their parents proud. They're probably either first generation or second generation, and there's a lot of social and cultural conditioning associated with people like me. Um, it feels like we're supposed to do all the quote unquote good things, the things that good girls are supposed to do, so that we're not just living the American dream, but we're also sending money home. We're also just making our parents really proud of themselves via what we have ended up achieving that they couldn't have. So that's what I think about with that term, tech girl.
no pressure.
Because it's totally low pressure. Um, yeah, oh my gosh, I did not anticipate that we would go there. But let's come back let's come back to personal branding. What does personal branding mean to you, and why is this important?
I think it's great to get to mid-career by being a tech girl. But as you look at a glass ceiling, as you look at paving your own way, I think it's really easy to just be yourself,
Yeah.
because being that girl comes with a lot of pressures, and each of us have our own unique identity. Some of us are
Mhm.
more funny than the tech girl. Some of us are more colorful or just outgoing than the tech girl. And some of
Mhm.
us are introverts.
Right.
And even the introvert can excel at podcasting and branding yourself. I think any person can excel at branding just by being themselves.
Yeah. And why is being themselves why is branding important?
Well, as you rise in your career, you want to
Mhm.
be recruited. You want people to come find you for a advisory role or a senior
Mhm.
executive role or board position. Especially for women, I think it's really important to be recruited as a speaker, keynote, or even like a monthly speaker.
Yeah,
So those opportunities don't come to all the good girls, right? Because they all look alike and they sound alike and they say exactly what we're
that's
expecting
true.
them to
And
say.
that's true. And I also love what you said about branding and introverts. Are you introverted?
Well, I used to have very different glasses when I was an immigrant, 7 years old. I had these horribly, well, I guess now they would be the anti-cool. They were like huge and
Uh,
square and
the big glasses.
the
Yeah.
big glasses.
Uh-huh.
But, at that time they definitely were not cool. So I would say that I definitely learned to be an extrovert, and it's not something that is off limits.
That is super so are you saying you were born introverted and you had to learn how to be more extroverted?
Mhm.
And how did you do that?
Well, I started as an artist, so at Stanford and, you know, before that living in New York City, I was an introverted artist, and then you get into the world of having to publish your art and sell it and,
Mm,
get gallery interest and get media interest, and it wasn't that I wasn't scared, it was more I really believed in my art and my vision and my passion. I wanted everyone to know about it. So it was this focus on the message and not on my public speaking fears.
mm. I am extremely introverted, but a lot of people would not perceive me that way.
I don't
But
believe you actually that you're
that's what
saying.
everyone says. I am extremely, extremely introverted, especially after COVID. Um, I have no problem live streaming. I have no problem speaking, but I have a big problem with networking. I have a big problem with going to events. And I don't know why that is. Um, it could be just always so I've always been this short Asian girl growing up. I've always been the shortest girl, even when I was in Taiwan. So even in Asia, I'm still really short. And so I've always felt that this world is built for bigger people, just like physically. And it makes me uncomfortable being in the real world when I'm surrounded by just bigger people. It really has this feeling like I could just bumped into the coffee table because everything's just so tall because I'm so small. But when I'm live streaming, it no longer makes me feel small. Then my height and the size of my body no longer is an issue. So I would say being introverted comes in a lot of different flavors, and my way of being introverted is probably a little bit different from what people perceive an introverted person to be or behave like. So
So
tell go
now I
ahead.
have a question for you. Like
Okay.
I think a lot of people, well, I'm sure everyone has problems with public speaking, those live
Mhm.
events. But when you started live streaming, how did you get over that fear?
To me, it actually was less about being live. It was more about the need to not have to edit my videos. So before I started live streaming, I used to be a YouTuber. And before I became a YouTuber, I used to have a blog. I used to blog about cosmetics and skincare, maybe 10, 20 years ago when Blogspot was a thing. And then after I got pregnant, I started to create YouTube videos to document my pregnancy and to document my baby's life. And I thought it was going to be a really unique gift that I could give her when she's older. So that was how I started my journey of just putting myself out there. But YouTubing is a lot of work, especially the video editing piece. And that piece was so overwhelming and so just not enjoyable for me that I stopped making videos. And then last year, I decided that I wanted to be a solopreneur. And like you said, marketing now is a really, really big aspect of my role. And so, as part of marketing, I'm like, all right, I feel like I have to make videos, but I really don't want to edit. And then I discovered live streaming. And because it's a live stream, I no longer feel like I have to edit. And it could be raw, it could be really unpolished, and it's okay. So that was how I started with live streaming.
That's amazing. That's what I advise my clients to do. So when people come to me for public speaking coaching or podcasting
Mhm.
classes, they still hide behind editing. And I coach them that instead of editing, go get your next hiring manager, go get your next client, do your next live stream. Like, don't hide
Yeah.
behind the 24 hours that some of them will use
Yes,
to edit the clips.
that's exactly it. And that leads to my next question, which is who do you help? Who are your clients?
Yeah, so I think for your audience, you have so many mid and executive level product managers,
Mhm.
and those are part of my clients as well. So probably someone who's done a little bit of public speaking at their
Okay.
company or externally, but wants that next position where they're being recruited by an external company or getting promoted or having that forced advisory role or board seat. So that's one category. And then the other category are all the coaches,
Mhm.
consultants who are going out on their own, the
Got it.
solopreneur community.
And do you coach them differently? Are there actions that they should take, or is it very similar?
For the executives, they have a much more targeted list. They usually have an industry. Let's say they work in the creator economy. So they have all the people at TikTok and YouTube that they want to meet and get onto their podcast. It's very linear.
Mm,
Then for the solopreneur community, it's a little bit more work because they have to figure out who their target audience
yeah.
is, how to reach them. But in the end, they all end up with a podcast where they feel like they're talking to the people who would hire them as a product leader or as a consultant. And they're having these really fun and authentic conversations.
Got it. And do you help them get on other people's podcasts, or do you help them start their own podcast?
However, they want to get started. When you are hosting your own podcast, you have this 50%, even like 70% take rate. So my last couple of students, they have invited their list of cold leads and hiring managers who wouldn't get back to them.
Oh, okay, that's what
50%
you
of
meant by
them.
take rate.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, got it. So they're sending out invites, and 50% of them would say yes.
Yes. So
Okay.
instead of like applying for that, role where you have to like use ChatGPT to write a cover letter and rewrite your resume, it's just one line. Be on my podcast and you get the yes, yes, yes. They all come in.
Okay. Are you saying that the strategy is inviting a hiring manager onto your podcast? And how does that work? Why would that sell? As in, how would that get the result that these people want?
Great question. It's part of this give take philosophy that I have. Once you give someone fame, you give
Ah,
someone some marketing, give someone the the thing that lights up their day. I mean, after, during and after the podcast, people feel like their best self. They feel on fire. You know, their vision is so clear. And then afterwards, you can pitch yourself or do a demo in the next call. But that's that moment where you're
I
giving
see.
them the publicity that they want.
Oh, that is super interesting. So, by inviting a hiring manager to join you on your podcast, you're making the hiring manager feel really good about themselves. And
Yeah,
that lowers their guard. It creates an emotional connection between you and the hiring manager, or you and your prospect, or you with whoever that you want to connect. And once that guard is down, you're able to just be yourself and sell whatever it is that you want to sell, whether you're selling your capabilities as an employee or selling your services.
exactly, exactly. So, you know, a lot of us think that we have to have that mission and message refined. But if you
Mm,
give your hiring manager 10, 15 minutes to talk about their mission, they'll probably talk about it in 3 or 4 different ways.
yeah.
And it's great for them to help clarify their mission. And then you're workshopping it with them. So
Oh, I see.
you understand their mission. And sometimes the answer is no, we would never work together. I'm not going to pitch you my next thing. But a lot of
Mhm.
times it's a deeper understanding of their mission
Mm.
and how you fit in.
What about the people who just have a fear around getting on a podcast? How do you work through that?
Yeah, so a lot of my clients think, oh, well, I haven't written a book yet, so I can't be on a podcast. And they think, oh, I actually don't use AI yet. I can't be
Mhm.
on an AI podcast. And the founders and entrepreneurs that have just taken my method without even paying me, they actually know nothing about a book that they would write. And they ask on a podcast, what should I
Mm,
write about? It's like your
mm,
user research. Like you have 10 guests where like you should write about A or B. And then you write the
mhm.
book later after these users have already signed up to read your book. And then other entrepreneurs, will they have nothing to do with AI and they interview AI experts like myself or other people, and suddenly they know exactly what tools to use and where to start. So it's such an easy and free way to get started.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. And tell us more about why podcasting is such a great strategy.
Well, the being yourself is part of getting started, because if you
Mm,
are rewriting your post 10 times and
yeah,
thinking about your book chapters before
yeah.
you even publish, you'll never start. So it's just like a Zoom meeting.
Mhm,
That's why it's easy to get started. And then the reason why it's so powerful isn't because of the hundreds of millions of followers you're
mm,
going to get. It's just that you're targeting a list of 10 hiring managers, a list of 10 cold leads that probably has a high chance of wanting to hire you anyway. It's
got
an
it.
internal podcast just between you
Between
and the
you.
guest. Yeah,
Okay.
between you. Yeah, exactly.
That I think that is a very powerful reframe. It is also very mind-blowing if you think about it because like you said, most people think about the audience size. Or maybe no one will hear you. Maybe no one will no one's like right now there's okay, maybe one person who's watching this live. But if I were to reframe and just think that maybe I just want to connect with Jay Z and that's all I want, I don't really need a huge live audience or even an audience afterwards. It's just me connecting with Jay Z and learning all about her.
Exactly. It's just you connecting with one other person. And we all have that list of dream
Mhm.
clients or dream hiring managers that we know we could help. And it's just easier to get them, to give them some fame.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I love that. Now tell us more about the next steps if people are interested in learning more about you and working with you?
So you can go to givetake.callmejz.ai, sign up, and you'll get a free summary of my class, and you'll even get a video to the free version of my class. So some people just take that free version and make their own podcast. It's
Mm,
very easy now with AI to launch within 1 week. Other people want a cohort and want my coaching to go live that
mhm,
first time.
mm.
And so either way, whether you do it yourself or do it with me or do it with another coach, it only takes 1 week to get started.
Tell us more about how AI can help you start a podcast. And what have you, like, basically, what is the difference between using AI and not using AI when it comes to starting a podcast?
Yeah. So in the beginning, you're going to need a couple of things. Let's say 4 things. First, you're going to need a list of topics that other podcasts have already covered, and AI can help you find that list of competitors, but also the type of audiences and
Mm,
hashtags that they go after.
mm,
Second, you're going to need a list of people to interview. So you might already have that list of 10, but out there are probably more experts and influencers who you could help. So that's the second part.
okay.
Third, you can make a website, driving people to that website to understand what your podcast is about. What's the one question you're going to ask them consistently? So,
Mm,
making a website is a 5-minute endeavor with AI. And
got
then
it.
last is, the posts that you're going to make, even the videos that you're going to make advertising your podcast. So that can
I
be done
see.
with AI too.
Can you tell us a little bit more about what this free class covers and the cohort and more in-depth services that you could offer after folks are done with the free class?
Sure. So the free class covers the tech stack. It's about 10 pieces of software that I use together. So if you're a product
Mm,
manager, it's really fun to use some of these AI editing and video softwares. You could do that
mm.
yourself with the free class. But then a lot of product managers, they get stuck. They're like, oh, I can't, like, I can't imagine going live. I
Wait,
get really,
why do they get stuck there?
well, they are used to the Zoom call, but they're not used to coaching their guests on, where to connect their streams. Like you just coach me on Restream, right? Every
Okay.
platform is different. I use
Yeah,
StreamYard, but Restream is
yeah.
great. So they're not used to coaching their own nerves. They're not used to coaching their guests' nerves.
I see. I see. I see. And does that mean that after this free class, folks can work with you and then you can help them and coach them through some of the fears and resistance that might come up?
Yeah, absolutely. So you would sign up for this hour of coaching where we could go live, and that's after getting the email courses and the templates and the AI software. So
I
you can
see.
do all that on your own, or, I can do that with you. And even for product managers, it's a time saver because if you're working, you don't have
Mhm.
time to fix some of the bugs, or you just want someone to do it for you.
Got it. And with these AI tools, do they need to create a budget to sign up for these AI tools, or are they free?
Most of them are free. I would
Mm,
say the tools, the only one that you need to sign up is a platform like Restream or StreamYard to pay
okay,
for streaming and recording. But all the
got
other
it,
tools are free.
got it. Well, podcasting also doesn't mean it has to be a live stream, right? It could be recorded, edited, and then published later. So if the live element is a showstopper, there are other ways.
Yeah, absolutely. So you could definitely record them, and then you don't actually need to be on video. That's a
Mm,
real,
true.
deal breaker for some people. So you can start with audio.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. Well, is there anything else that I didn't ask you yet that you want um, the audience to know about you or your services?
I think it's about just getting started. There's really
Mm,
no reason to have any kind of cost or experience barrier
yeah,
because you all can go live stream on LinkedIn like every day. There's really just
good.
I think the main thing is just having a question, a burning question or a mission in your mind that you want to understand and
What's an
find out.
example of a burning question?
It could be, do I want to use AI on the job? It could be, who are the people who want to talk about uh, blockchain anymore? So, like, it doesn't have to be an answer. You just have to have the one question that you want
Yeah.
to start asking.
Ah, okay. Okay, got it. And what's the one thing that they could do to actually take that first step to get started?
Oh, download my free video.
That's exactly it. Because getting started could feel like 100 steps that you have to take, but that's not what we're saying here. What we're saying here is you could take one step toward the thing that you want. It doesn't have to be taking 100 steps, just take one step at a time. And the perfect first step that we could take right now is to scan this QR code and check out Jay-Z's free class on building your brand. And like Jay-Z said, right now is a really good time to be building your brand. If not now, then when? So with that, I want to thank Jay-Z for coming onto my live stream. Thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me and to prepare for this special episode.
This is so fun. Thank you for
Oh,
your
great.
questions.
We should do it again.
We will do it again. So Nancy will be on my live stream podcast in a month or so. So I'm
Yes.
looking forward to having you on
Yes.
mine as well.
Oh, that's so good. Also, thank you for the person who just scanned the QR code. Hope you enjoy Jay-Z's class, and she's also active on LinkedIn, active on email. Just I think Jay-Z is active everywhere. So super accessible. With that, I'm going to say goodbye to everyone, and I will see you next time.
Thanks, everyone.